I remember when Facebook was really big, or not even really big, before it was big, really. I mean, when it was just a thing that we heard about, oh, there's this thing, Facebook, right? I mean, I was like fucking 10 or whatever, 10, 11. And I had cleverly set up a Facebook account, where I set it up to where I was over 18, which is a lie. If you didn't know that, if you couldn't put that together. And that was at the time where Facebook, there was actually like, not even like it was like almost like softcore tease, but it wasn't even porn. It was just like videos of strippers, and they would like strip down and then they would like cut right before you saw anything naked, right? But I would, there was a thing that you could do if you had a friend that was like, had that app downloaded or subscribed to that or whatever, that like all of their friends could watch it. And so I was like the rock star at my school, this tiny little private school in Iowa. I was the fucking rock star, you know, like, oh my God, you give us all the porn and shit. And then I remember I went to camp, because I used to do this like camp for 7 weeks out of the year. That was actually probably the time that I first came across video pornography. But anyways, I came back from that, and my mother like sat me down and she asked me she said she found out that I had Facebook in so many words, and she asked me to write down the username and password, and I did. And I remember her doing that, and then me going into my closet, shutting the door, and just sitting in the dark in silence and just waiting to see what happened next. And like, you know, an hour or two later, whatever, my mother came into my room bawling. And she just said, you know, the thing I want most for you is that you have a good soul, that you save your soul. And then she went upstairs crying. And my dad came in right after, and all he had to say was, you know, people do stupid shit. which was comforting at the time, right? Because I was fucking distraught and devastated for hurting my mother like that. So, you know, that was definitely an unhealthy component to it, right? Like that's a whole part of the shame cycle I don't know if I can ever forgive my mother for. You know, speaking of my mother, later on, there's fast track 10, 15 years, or fast forward 10, 15 years. And I was having this issue with my ex-wife where she was upset with my porn use, and in kind of a moment of desperation, I went to my mother and kind of just laid it all out, talked to her about it. And then she put her hand on my shoulder and she was like, do you want me to drive the demons out of you? And I stood up and I walked out the door and I went home. Because no. I was an atheist. I mean, besides the fact that I was already an atheist at that point, like, what fucking insane person is like, I'm just gonna perform an exorcism because you jerk off? I mean, that's just so fucking insane in my mind. But yeah, I mean, I think that's a huge part of it for me. I feel bad throwing my family under the bus, but like, I don't know. I'm here today. That was my experience. I don't know what else to say on that.